All right, everyone. Welcome to Interviews with Strangers. This is episode 7. I'm here today with Leviticus and Kaya. We're here today at Demi Park. I thought it would be a nice little break. Got a nice little view. I hope you guys enjoy. So, Leviticus, you started a group, man. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it and what's it about?
The community I created, it was about 5 years ago now. I can't take all the credit because we've had other people put their input on it, to make it a better community, a better place for everybody. But it's a community that promotes positivity, positive self-awareness, just all things with a good impact on someone's mentality or daily lives that you can think of. And we kind of steer clear of all the negativity, negative criticism, and judgment and hate. Because I and hopefully everybody else in the community agrees with me when I say that everything is positive in its own way, where people, I guess, could feel shame about some things. That shame that they feel might not necessarily be of their own creation. It's usually directed at them because someone else is lacking something or a doubt they have about themselves, and just spread this positive energy, negative energy, everywhere. And negative energy multiplies as it goes through, just like positive energy multiplies. The more good you put out, the more good you get back, and the more bad you put in, the more bad you get back. So that being said, I decided that why not have a place that's free of negativity and hate and judgment, where everybody could have their own unique influence and impact as a whole to make a better collective mind, like a better positive impact on the world around them and their self.
So what would you say to those people that would say, well, you're creating an echo chamber, and some of these things that you want to kind of protect yourself against are useful tools that people use in society to kind of move things along?
Well, yeah, sure, you could influence people by making them feel bad about something. Or one could say that there are hate-free ways to state your opinions, and criticism can be positive and loud.
So that you get it all in the outside world anyways, why not have a hate-free place?
Right.
A safe haven.
A safe haven from something that could literally change the direction of their life for what other people would tell you is better, but maybe it's only better for them or someone else. Everyone isn't the same, and different things affect everybody differently. Of course, everybody has something different that's going on in their lives at all times. Not one person can be the same as another person unless they are that person. To most people, it would be common sense, but nobody looks at it like that simply. They overcomplicate everything because people have body image issues, people have psychological issues just because they were made fun of for liking a girls band when they were children or something like that. Or people could get made fun of because they like the color blue and they're like, oh no, red or purple is better. Or you're fat because you don't weigh as little as I do. Or you're too tall because I'm not as tall as you. And then it gets directed, well, if you don't do this, you'll be weird and outcast, and then everyone's going to go against you. So it just puts everybody against each other. Whose purpose is this shame or negative construct for? Yeah, you can have good influences using good impact, good tact, good energy.
Well, what would you say if I said, I didn't intend to shame this person. I was just trying to give them constructive criticism, and their perception, made it a shameful feeling instead of it being more constructive. Like there's a lot of let's say fat shaming going on, and I was like, hey, it's probably a good idea if you would maybe fast or go to the gym or exercise, and they thought that I was shaming them for being obese, and then they go into your group, they get support, and then they never do anything about their obesity in kind of this atmosphere where they're only given positivity, and then it negatively impacts their life.
Well, when you think of positivity, you think of enabling. Well, that's not exactly what's going on. We're not like, oh, you're not fat, honey. Everything's gonna be all right. Your health problems aren't real. If someone has a legitimate reason, there's still positive ways to interconnect with that issue and solve it. If someone misunderstands something, it's probably because they've had that kind of vocal impact happen to them in a negative way so many times that they just assume that everything like that's negative, thus kind of reassuring and reaffirming what I'm saying. Yeah, in the first place, that wouldn't be an issue if you're helping in a constructive way. And if somebody misconstrues what you're saying and it's like has like that misconception that it's all negative and you're berating them and you're telling them that they're terrible people and you're just shaming them all out, you could just try explaining it a different way, or ask them why they think that you're making them feel bad, and then you can go about explaining what you meant to do, that you're trying to do something positive. People don't go to my group because they're trying to be like, oh, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me. Other people have similar issues because everybody goes to this place to know that everybody's not alone. Like, okay, so I have a saying in there, like, if you have advice, give advice. If you need advice, ask for advice. Somebody in here can help you. And if they can't, they'll try. And if not, maybe you have been through something that no one else has, and you can give the next person advice because of experience, because of what worked for you and what didn't. Not to make somebody feel bad for it, but to tell them how to feel better. To tell them how to be more positive and tell them how to build from the issue they had. Say someone's homeless, but they don't want help because they need to build themselves up, right? Well, they're not going to say, you need a place to live or else. No, they're like, okay, well, here's some tips for surviving on your own. It's that simple. You just help somebody see the bright side of things and then execute things that will bring people up out of it, not just mask or kind of cover it up like it's something that's okay and everyone else is wrong.
Besides that, like, you can't help someone that doesn't want help. Like, for say that obese girl, if she doesn't want to lose weight, attacking her is not going to make her want to lose weight, and even reassuring her about her body is not going to, like, she's only going to want to change if she wants to change. And when someone's open to change, we will come at it in a positive way. We're not going to enable people and be like, oh, you know, you're beautiful, eat another pie, you know, gain some more weight. It's not like that kind of thing. Or even with drugs, because there's a lot of people that have currently use drugs a little bit, or a lot of people that have overcome addiction actually in the group, because I just recently did a poll about that, and a lot of them have overcome their addiction, and you know, since we've all been through the same thing, we were all able to support and help one another in that endeavor.
That's a beautiful thing. What was the statistic, if you can kind of remember, about how many people were able to overcome your addiction with your guys' site?
Well, I wouldn't say it was with the site, but with some support and all that, and you know, just their own.
We're not.
Yeah.
I get it.
If anything, it's like a whole rehabilitation goal. Like, we don't fix people. We help everyone fix themselves, and eventually help everybody that has fixed themselves fix each other and stuff like that. I mean, have you ever watched the movie Dodgeball?
I have.
All right. At the very end of the movie, when he wins and all that, and Average Joe Jones, his slogan is, "We like you just the way you are, but if you feel like you stand to lose a few pounds, you just want to look better, feel better about yourself, you're welcome here anytime." That's kind of what it's like.
That's brilliant. And what in your life led you to kind of be a part of growing something like this?
Well, I've had a pretty interesting life. I haven't always, or almost never, been dealt a very good hand. And I always felt like there was no one that could truly be there to help me. No one seemed to be able to believe or understand or have a solution for anything I was going through. And it led me to be kind of inclined to be like everybody's counselor. People would come to me for advice. Like, I would give great advice, but I would be terrible at having following my advice because I only give good advice because of the things I've been through. And it led me to realize that if I had someone like me that was there for me, telling me, hey, it's not that bad, it's just something you're going through right now, and there are ways out of it, and maybe you can avoid getting there again. And I was like, well, I always felt there was no one like that at all. no one tried to reach out to me and tell me there was. So I thought maybe if I gathered people, anyone who felt like they could be a good influence or needed a good influence, or just wanted a place that was safe and they didn't have to feel bad about everything all the time, so they can make progress. So they weren't stuck in a stupor just from being belittled too many times. Well, that's how anti-shame was born. I just thought, hey, all this body shaming's going on, all this mental shaming's going on. Everybody's telling everybody they're terrible people for being gay or transsexual or asexual even. Well, why waste all the time just making fun or pointing out a problem? If you want change, you have to make change. You have to do something to end in a different result than was initially. Otherwise, you're just living in the same loop the rest of your life. Like, they kind of want you to, it seems. Like, you're stuck in this big, conformed little lined box, like they'll set up like a train. They're like, get in your train car so you can be what we tell you are. That keeps society going. That's kind of what they lead you to believe all the time. Well, that's kind of what's halted our very evolution as a species. We are remaining the exact same problem that we have been for hundreds of years because it's stuck in this cycle of shame, hate, identity crisis, mass genocide, chaos. And where are we at now? The planet's dying, we're dying, the animals are dying. Don't you just want to be alive for once?
Well, and to that I would say Steven Pinker, who's a Harvard professor, just released a book called The Case for Science, Reason, Humanism, and Progress, in which he gives very clear statistics on why this is actually the best time that the world's ever been in as far as progress, reason, humanism. And, you know, I mean, mortality rates are down, infant mortality rates are down, we're living the longest we've ever lived. There's more people with food now than there's ever been, and we're in a technological state that's, you know, unimaginable 50 years ago.
Well, I would say that's a very one-sided point you're looking at. For one, yeah, everybody's living longer. Everybody has food. Technologically, we are the most advanced anyone's ever been before that we are aware of. However, there's more people alive now that have no good positive impact on anything. They are taking resources and not giving any. People are keeping diseases alive by letting them just live long and prosperous lives of nothingness. People are sponges. People are literally being treated like cattle for their blood and time. We no longer have an ecosystem. We have a government's mandated society factory of resources. Who has all this food? Is the food healthy? No. The healthy food is almost illegal to own. You have to have permits to have organic seeds. You have to have permits to live on your own land. You have to have all this crazy stuff. You can't even collect rainwater in most of the country to survive. You can only pay someone else for something that they don't own. So, yeah, we're prospering, but we're basically just turning into a big cancer cell that's going to immediately destroy everything it touches. Sure, technology is advanced. Everybody's living longer. Well, is that really a good thing? We're already overpopulated. There's more food for everybody because there's more people. There's not more food. There's less food and more filler. It's all a matter of what side you see and just all around perspective. Yeah, sure, that's one side, but you gotta look at the whole. It's always the whole. What's good for everything, not just humanity.
Well, that's well said. You know, it's definitely arguable that humanity is definitely not the best thing for this planet. I certainly wouldn't argue against it. You know, I seen this crazy thing that how many nuclear bombs have been detonated on the planet, and it was like a number that looked ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it, and I was just kind of going through just the other day of like, oh, that we've kind of done to the planet. I still want to live in hope. I still want to have a hope in progress and humanism and reason, and I really do believe these principles have led us evolve to the state that we're at now. Are we perfect? No. None of us are, and as a species, we're probably worse, but we're getting better, I feel like.
Well, yeah, because of all the negative impacts we're finally visibly seeing. Yeah, everybody's got a more forward thinking,
now we
perspective.
know about it thanks to the internet, things like that. Where people are more educated, but people are also
younger
more
generation.
given false information too. So it's kind of a give and take thing.
Yes, definitely a lot more information.
But it's still not as much as you'd think it is. I mean, yeah, there's more forward-thinking people. There's more people that are actually understanding things now. It's a better time for reasoning, but that's still being quelled by what the NSA decides to regulate now and all this other great crafty stuff the government has imposed on everyone worldwide. And while some governments are good, others are bad. Some don't know what they're doing because they're just humans, you know?
And besides that, the people that care, we're so busy working, full-time jobs that we can't do anything. We don't have the time to do anything unless you're, rich.
I mean, we're spending a lot of time worrying about how big the wall's going to be and less time about how many people can eat healthy food. So what do you think matters more to certain people,
Definitely good food. That whole wall issue, I don't really know too much about it, but I do feel like this toxic tribalism is one of our greatest enemies within our own society today. We've kind of clicked up into these groups, and that's why I kind of hit you with the devil's advocate on your group, because a lot of these groups are becoming echo chambers for bad ideas.
Well, I don't want it to be a chamber. I want it to be like a...
What is a closed group, right?
It's a closed group because...
We don't want it to be one of those big groups with 20,000 people in, so that it then becomes that echo chamber. Like acid math, I don't know if you've ever been there. Acid math is a big echo chamber. It's great, it's huge, it's big, but because of its size, it's less personal. A lot of those bad ideas leak through.
That's just, we're just piggybacking on an already set up system. And we don't have all the say-so in what goes on, and we have to follow someone else's rules. Mm-hmm. So we are currently not doing what exactly we want to do. And the goal is to have our own website and a real-life community. It's not just a small project. It's something that's supposed to just be like a root system. It's not supposed to be a chamber. It's supposed to be something open that can reach as many places as it's allowed. As long as something doesn't get in its way, as long as it's welcome to be there, it can sustain and generate life.
And we're also trying to revamp it because we've gotten a little lax on it lately, admittedly, to where we're trying to have new moderators come in, try new things. If those moderators stop being active, or I know sometimes, people are flawed, they'll decide they don't like something and delete it even though it doesn't go against any of the rules, and if stuff like that happens, a probationary period. We're trying to get better about it, about that kind of stuff.
It's a trial and error thing because we don't want to kick people out for having a moment weakness, but we don't want to allow this because you can only help somebody so much before they become the problem if they don't want to be helped. Say I call something like that like a fallen mindset where you just can't recover from something. Maybe one day they'll change their mind, something will click, something will happen. Because it has for me multiple times. I've gone through states where I'm just, what the hell am I going to do? I might as well be a supervillain or something. Or there are other days where I don't want to do anything but good. I don't know, some great person once said, always do good first. Or as first, do good. Something like that.
Yeah. And I am really proud of you guys for starting this kind of positive environment. I know with my own battles through life and problems, challenges, adversities, a good positive environment is one of the most beneficial, if not the most beneficial thing one can have to combat, those life challenges. I mean, fellowship, community, a positive environment. There's just, I couldn't say more. I couldn't say enough about a positive environment as probably the biggest factor in overcoming a lot of challenges in life. And I can personally attest for a lot of people overcoming their addictions and things like that from that positive, that
A
environmental
couple
switch.
actually got married in this community.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
really?
met
Yeah.
through it and got married. That's
Wow.
how we met.
Wow.
It's actually helped
That's
people.
powerful.
It's like one of the only things in my life I'm actually proud to say I did right once.
That's fantastic. That really is. Okay. So Leviticus, what do you see in the future for this community and yourself? What do you want to be? What do you want to give? What do you want to leave behind? What do you want to do?
You know, I wish I had like a solid answer for that, but it's more of a reaction type thing. Like I move forward and then I have to react to whatever obstacles or hindrances, like stumbling blocks are in my way.
Well,
And-
like right now you're working on that website. Like we've got a website that we just started. Well, that what's his name started.
There's a member of my community
Yeah.
that set up an image board for us, so we don't have to follow any of Facebook's regulations anymore because somebody was reporting pictures and posts and stuff like that.
auto reporting.
Yeah, so the end goal, I guess, would be to have a positive influence and maybe actually do some good to grow, to get it off Facebook, to make it a real life community. It's basically a living, thriving organism without me or anybody else involved. At this point, it's going to exist if I'm involved or not. And I've had proof of that because I've been absent for months at a time before. And I was impressed. But for me, I can't really tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow, let alone a year from now. Because everything can change in an instant. And my life is definitely a proof of that.
Okay. What is something that you would like to specifically tell the viewers listening at home? They've got problems. We've all got problems. What is something you could give to them or say to them that maybe they could put in their toolbox and use in a time of need?
Right. Everybody's definitely gone through some stuff, but some people haven't gone through something as harsh as what maybe you have gone through. But for that person, something as insignificant as losing an animal would be a lot worse on their mentality than you losing 2 of your family members on the same day because you've been through something you can handle a lot worse than they can. So keep that in mind before you judge somebody or make fun of somebody before saying they're trying to just get attention. Everybody has been through different things, but sometimes other people have been through things that you have too. So maybe you just ask somebody for advice, or if you don't feel like you have anybody to go to, well, you could get a hold of somebody and they'll probably direct you somewhere that will listen, because there's always somebody out there that's going to try and help.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Well, Leviticus, Kaya, it was wonderful to have you guys on the show. I really appreciate you guys doing this, and it was a beautiful time. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Link in description, and we'll get that information to you guys about the page also in the description, okay? All right, guys, signing off. Interviews with Strangers. Take care.